Welcome to Platforms to Write HTML Code, an introduction to plain text editors and more. Now, as you may already know, websites cannot exist unless they are written. To write websites, we use HTML, hypertext markup language. Thus, like a spreadsheet needs Excel or a letter needs Word, HTML also requires a platform. And as you can see, this is no ordinary text format. So I hope you're not thinking of Word or Excel at this moment. Writing HTML. HTML can be written and edited by using plain text editors such as the following: Notepad, Notepad++, the professional HTML editor, Adobe Dreamweaver. But for learning HTML, the regular plain text editor, Notepad, is highly recommended. Basically, this makes you comfortable with your HTML coding before you can upgrade to more advanced platforms. Notepad is easily accessed from your accessory category, basically listed up there with your calculator. It's that basic. Yes, the same Notepad we use as a quick reminder on our desktops from time to time is also used to create websites. How amazing is that? Thus, anyone with a computer is able to create HTML documents, if they are guided in the right direction, of course. So I'm going to present a brief introduction to Notepad. I will access Notepad from my Windows 8 platform. In my search option, I will be typing Notepad, and as you can see, it's literally listed up here with the sticky notes. That's how basic it is. Once accessed, you can literally type anything. Anything from code to a simple note, but in this case, we are using it for code. So for a brief example, we have some code placed within the Notepad text editor. And of course, before we can actually see it executed as a web page, it needs to be saved as an HTML file. So let's introduce you to saving for HTML. Saving HTML files with Notepad. As you might be used to, Notepad files are not normally saved in any advanced or special way. We just click save and there it is. But when we create an HTML file, it is important to save the document using the correct file extension like .htm or .html. Now, what exactly is a file extension? Simply explained, to differentiate between documents. How do we know if a document is either Word, Excel, HTML, or Outlook or Access? Basically, we either look at the icon for the simple way, or we can look at the extension of a file. Now, the extension also refers to the type of file. Take a look at the examples. The first one is identified as example.docx, which represents a Word document. The second one, example.xls, which refers to an Excel document. And of course, the final one refers to an HTML document. Also, to give you a little bit more of a visual, I've placed two examples of properties of two different documents. The first one being a Word document. And as you can see, type of file, Microsoft Word document, .docx. The second one opens with Internet Explorer, and the type of file is an HTML document, .html. So, to get from Notepad to HTML, we have to physically save it as an HTML file using a .html extension. So, instead of just listening and reading, let's take a look. First of all, I will access the save options from the File tab. And instead of choosing save, I'm going to choose save as. Since this is an untitled document, that literally means it hasn't been saved yet, or it doesn't even have an identity. So let's give it an identity. Save as. Once save as has been chosen, you place it in the navigation you would like to. In other words, either on your desktop and any document page you've created. Basically, I'm just going to drop it here. I'm going to call it, index, and of course, .html. Because this is Notepad, it has to be done manually. Once you click save, your document will be created. So let's test it. So before we test our HTML document, let's see what it should view. I have a current title, this is my title, and within the document I wanted to say, this is my first header. So let's see if it works. So from the navigation where I saved my little index HTML document, I will double click, and it's accessed within my browser. As you can see, this is my title, is listed in the title bar, and of course this is my first header, which is the content I placed in the body section, appears within my window. Very basic and official HTML file. So what you need to remember, if you would like to use Notepad for creating HTML, you need to remember to save it as an HTML file as well. The next platform would be Notepad++. More of an advanced text editor, also an HTML and script editor. This platform is highly recommended for candidates familiar with basic HTML code or who would like to upgrade from the regular Notepad. Now, this is probably the best way to exercise HTML code, and it is definitely my favorite platform as well. Thus, I'm going to access Notepad++ as well. Same search, and this time I'm choosing Notepad++ instead of Notepad. And there we go, there's the plain text editor, Notepad++. Now many of you are thinking, how will I get access to Notepad++? I'm not even going to bother, I don't have it. Nope, not necessary. You can literally go type this phrase within Google or wherever you would like to search in the internet, click on the main website and look for the button download, and it's completely free. The wonderful thing about Notepad++ is that it color codes your HTML code. Let me demonstrate. Now before I can actually see any color code, I actually have to set my language, which is great. As you should know, there are many other coding languages out there than HTML. We have C# and CSS, which we'll be working with pretty soon, JavaScript and JSP and Java itself, and then of course I'm just going to work with HTML for now, so I'll be setting my HTML language. Now I can start typing. If I add code, it starts to color code it as I type. The blue refers to a correctly typed tag. And of course, if I type any text, say for instance in my head section, first going to add a title to that. Don't worry about the code, you'll be typing this soon enough. This is just to demonstrate. Right, within title I'm adding, this is my first title, and as you can see, the text I've written, which is my own, becomes black, and the tags, which is HTML syntax, are blue. And this is of course color coded by Notepad++, which by the way, did I mention it's free? It's absolutely free if you access it from any internet browser. And just go click on download. I definitely recommend this platform. It's very easy to work with and it's very quick to work with as well. The great thing is, once I choose File, Save As, it immediately identifies the language because I selected it as Hypertext Markup Language. The only thing I need to do is assign a name, click Save, and it will work. Even if I don't want to save, I can quickly run it, launch in Internet Explorer, and of course it will show in a browser as well. Easy as that. Much quicker, auto-save options, validating options, zoom in, zoom out, a lot more to work with. So I highly recommend downloading Notepad++. Then the last example I'll be introducing you to is Adobe Dreamweaver. This of course is an HTML editor and a visual creator. It's much more visual and it's got a lot of drag and drop options. It consists of a code view and a design view. You can actually see how your code generates right in front of your eyes without running it in a browser. And this is of course recommended for designers who are familiar with HTML code and have worked with it for quite a while. You understand your code, thus it's easy to identify between design and code then. So let's quickly introduce you to the platform. Now as you can see, this would be the start menu for the Dreamweaver application. There are many codes to choose from here. Now at this moment we are working with HTML, so I'll be selecting HTML. A stage appears and you can choose between code view, which is basically like the Notepad++ editor, color-coded code. The split view, where you can generate your documents. If I add text between the body, it generates within the screen next to it. And of course, I can only view my design view as well, with a lot of drag and drop options from Dreamweaver. Now, any raw coder will tell you this is the lazy way, but I only recommend this if you are very comfortable with working in HTML. So there are many more editors like these, but these are the main ones I would recommend for an HTML or a web designer. So choose your HTML editor. Either you are comfortable in the plain text editor Notepad, or maybe you would like to work with Notepad++, or if you are more advanced and you've become quite comfortable with HTML, I recommend Adobe Dreamweaver. Hope you find what you like. Enjoy!